And hello guys! Welcome back to the third part of the basically PvP Masterclass series that we have on this channel. Today we'll be covering firstly defense tree of the masteries, and then we'll see what kind of time we have left so we do not prolong the video by too much. So, when do you want to be using the defense tree? We already explained the tree you can basically take if you're going for a nuker type of champion to be able to counter attack as much as possible. Basically something like this. Let me just reset this really quickly. Now, what happens if you're trying to build an either a high resist champion, a support champion that you want to be tankier, or a champion that you strictly want as a meat shield? Now you have two options here. Tough skin is not a bad mastery if you're going for a meat shield type of champion, defensive type of champion. If you're going for resistance tree, obviously Defiant. So I actually will go through and build couple of different type of trees here that you can then copy or work off of. Let's say we're going for resistance first. So resistance, what do we want next? Increases the amount of healing and the value of shields this champion receives by 5% is terrific if you have somebody on the same team who places shields or heals. If you do not, that's wasted mastery. Do not take it unless you have to. By what I mean actually is if you're going for Blastproof here, you will have to take rejuvenation, right? And again, given that if you're going with high resistance, it's almost always not going to be in your speed team, so you are aiming to go second. So the chances of you not having any heals in there is really slight to none. So rejuvenation is almost always going to be very beneficial for you. Then again, we have two different types of things here that we can choose from. Blastproof is awesome. It decreases the damage you receive by 5% from AoE attacks. On the other hand, improved parry decreases the damage by 8% when a champion is hit with a critical hit. Again, it's very not, and I don't want to say situational, it's just based on your personal preference. You can always come back and choose the other one and see which one works the best. Both are terrific and are going to be decreasing the damage you'll be receiving. So again, something to think about. I'm not gonna say which one you should 100% of the time pick here. It's not really like a not changeable type of thing. So I will leave that up to your own choice based on the champions you will be using. Now, Might Endurance isn't bad again, but especially if you're building resistance type of champion, you should not be getting these debuffs on you, so it would be a waste mastery basically. Again, a mastery that would be terrific in a different type of build, which we will explain. Then we have Resurgent. Again, throughout all my arena videos you can hear me say the most broken mastery in the game. I'm sure many other arena buffs would agree with that. Whoever loves arena in this game knows how awesome Resurgent is. Basically, you just do nothing, you sit there, people come in, they debuff you, and then their nuker goes, and you lose 25 or more percent of your HP on a champion. Boom, all of a sudden you have 50% chance, which is a lot, right? Because you're doing nothing, you're not using skills, it's not about an accessory you have or anything of the sorts. You just stand there and they nuke you, and you have a 50% chance of removing one debuff from you. Just a terrific mastery that you should definitely look into take basically all the time. That's the one mastery I'm gonna recommend all the time, no matter what you're trying to build. Unless again we're going for like really high resistance, in which case you're just betting on not getting debuffed. In that case, yeah, you can skip the mastery, but again, it's just too good to skip out on. Then we have Bloodthirst here, which heals you by 10% when you kill an enemy target. Given that we're talking support champions here, that's not really something that's going to be happening all the time. They are not going to be your damage output champions, so this would be just a wasted mastery if you ask me. Now, based on what you chose in tier 2, you can go for Wisdom of Battle, which has a 30% chance of placing block debuffs when you get stun, sleep, blah blah blah. Again, not something you would take on a high resistance champion, but otherwise not a bad mastery. But again, not something I would just truly go for. So let's say you went for Blastproof here. You can go into Shadow Heal, which is terrific, because whenever an opponent heals, your champion will heal as well for 6% of maximum HP. Then we go into Delay That, which you should be taking on a Go Second team, given that you are planning on having multiple turns, and their nuker taking couple of hits at you perhaps, in which case you'll just decrease the damage that he does to you for each following hit. Then we have Harvest Despair, again something that's very situational, not a good mastery in my opinion, so I'll just keep it honestly here. And then increase resistance by 10% for each debuff on this champion, again kinda not the best mastery if again you ask me, given that if you're going for high resistance you should definitely not be having like 3 debuffs on you, so kinda doesn't make sense. And if you're not going for resistance, why would you care about getting plus 30, right? So just not something I would choose. Then we have increases ally resistance by 5% for each buff placed on them. Top tier stuff, especially if you're going for a high resistance team. And then finally, we sadly do need to take Retribution here to be ending up in Unshakable as a tier 6 mastery. Now, why do I say sadly? And this is why I said that this video will be a tad bit longer, so we'll just be explaining the defense tree here. Because we do need to cover the 2 counterattack masteries, because they do correlate with another mastery here. Now, the other mastery I'm talking about is Cycler of Revenge. So, what does the Cycler of Revenge do? Basically, when you have a 50% chance of increasing your turn meter by 50% when an ally is attacked with a critical hit, which will only increase turn meter once if an ally receives multiple critical hits from a single skill. That's okay. Now, let's say you're building a support champion, and this is something that I'll be recommending until the day I die. You do not want crit rate on them. I know that in this game you basically have the base chance of 15% to critical hit someone, but if you can get 0+% crit rate from your gear, that's awesome. Let's say you're building, I don't know, Rector Drat. Let's say you're building even somebody like Lydia, or any debuffer. Let's say it's Doug the Pierced. Well, actually, you do need crit rate on him to be able to place decreased defense, so not the best example here. Let's say it's Gorgrab, or maybe it's Ryan the Conjurer. Perhaps you're using Doom Priest, or maybe somebody like Apothecary, Reliquary Tender, Stag Knight. Anybody who's basically either a support champion or a debuffer, where you do not need 100% crit rate for the skill to be actually able to work. You do not want it. You never want it, because you do not want to proc Cycler of Revenge on your opponents, because that way you're basically helping them, right? Because they are now increasing their turn meter because you did a critical hit. And that's exactly why I try not to take the counterattack masteries here on any of my support champions when I do not need to, because I do not want them to be able to counterattack and then critical hit, and that way basically just turn the tide of the game, because I do want to be in control of all my arena fights. So, Cycler of Revenge, again, one of my favorite masteries when it comes to this game. And let's basically let me just put it like this: if you can again, I'm not saying, and you should, I do not want you to come back and say Mr.Wednesday told me to get 0% crit rate. In all the cases, what I mean by that is, let's say you have a gear piece that gives you, I don't know, 25 accuracy, 17 speed, and 6% crit rate. And then let's say you just have another piece that has the same amount of speed and same amount of accuracy, but no crit rate. I'm just saying take that piece. I'm not saying you should nerf your speed, accuracy, resistance, HP, any of the stats you actually need on your champion to be doing the job you want them to do. I'm just saying, if you have a choice between choosing two same gear pieces or like losing 2 accuracy but also losing like 15 crit rate, in that case, yeah, go for the latter one. Lose the crit rate. Try to control the battle as much as you want. There's already too much RNG in this game. You do not want more RNG in your fights, basically, because you already have 3% chance to always get resisted, no matter what your accuracy is. There's swift parry, there's reaction, accessories. There's too much things you cannot control when it comes to fighting an opponent. So try and control otherwise through the means you have available to you, right? Now, let's say we're talking about a non-resistance champion and we still want the defense tree, basically, yeah? We can go for tough skin here. And then again, now we can actually take this and this, because we are planning on basically that we will maybe get debuffed, maybe not, depends on if you really want to be picky with your opponents. You could go for rejuvenation and blastproof again, but you can choose mighty endurance here. Now it makes sense because you do not have high resistance. Resurgent is something that's basically non-negotiable when it comes to at least my preference when it comes to masteries. Then again, you will not be killing a lot of champions, so I would stay away from Bloodthirst again, and from Wisdom Battle, I would choose Shadow Heal. Shadow Heal is terrific. Now here we do have, again, I want to say somewhat different approach, but it's actually not really. Harvest Despair is still not going to be an ideal mastery, if you ask me. If somebody found a way to utilize it to a great extent, please do mention in the comments below, or hop on over to my Discord, which is in the description of the video, and explain me the logic behind the mastery and why you believe it's great. I just do not see it's so situational. Like if you're landing stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze, placing a leech for like one turn is so unbeneficial, if you ask me. Like, I just do not see it helping when it comes to arena, so I'm not gonna recommend it here. Now again, delay that is terrific, and then Cycler of Revenge is going to be taken for sure. Now the tier 6 mastery here definitely is different. Again, Iron Skin is going to be basically the same thing like Elixir of Life here. I'm never gonna recommend you taking 200 defense as your tier 6 mastery, unless it's a like stupidly specific situation, not arena related, because you can get 200 more defense through other means. So please just choose those means and not the tier 6 mastery. Do not waste it. We have a couple of different things here. Let's say you're having a stun, sleep, freeze, true fear, fear champion, provoke champion, that's going to be your crowd control champion. Take the Fearsome Presence. It's going to be awesome. You're going to have 5% more chance of placing those debuffs, unless they are already at 100% chance, in which case it's again a waste mastery, so do not take it. And then we have Bulwark, which will decrease the damage all allies receive by 5%. This champion will receive the damage instead. Now I do want to say, if you, let's say, have 4 champions on your arena, offense, defense team, whatever, and all of them have Bulwark, only one will work. Like, only one Bulwark mastery will actually proc, so having multiple of those is not beneficial, unless Raid changes something, or perhaps Plarium already changed something that I'm just not yet aware of, in which case I will obviously update this. But for all I know, unless anything was changed in the last couple of days, Bulwark still works like the way I basically just explained it right now. That leads to the end of the video here. I'm gonna be coming back with part 4 tomorrow, so I just wanna say I really appreciate each and every one of you, and until the next video, Mr. Wednesday, signing out.